are the Honeywell
Heroes.
What's that?
Heroes.
Wow. Getting it going.
That's a little
tonight.
echoey. Hero!
You know what? You're yelling. And
That's probably going to sound so bad when we run it back.
Disorderly conduct's in the house. Man.
Yeah,
We're back
buddy.
in action. What episode is this?
This is episode 16.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Episode 16, and we're on how many? I don't even know how many guests we've had.
Probably what? Probably 11 or 12?
Yep, at least. And our guest tonight is Coach Trent Snowden.
Hello.
Coach Snowden, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, you know what? Just give us a little rundown of who you are, what you're about, and what you're doing for the Clinton School District.
Well, currently I'm at Whittier Elementary. I'm the elementary phys ed teacher. This is my 34th year.
34.
Wow.
The same age as me and Tanner.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Thanks for that. So obviously I'm nearing the end of my career here in the next year, 2, 3, who knows. But, been involved with a lot of Clinton sports, obviously, for those years, and enjoy my job and enjoy working in this fine school district.
How many years? Okay, we got to go back to baseball. How many years were you the head baseball coach for Clinton?
20 years.
20. What was your first year?
1991.
Nice.
Man,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
91.
I was 3 years old. How about you?
Yeah, we was last three.
Well, actually, I think I got hired in 91, so I think it would have been the 91, 92. So it would have been 92,
Yeah.
I guess.
So you would have sold in like the 92 crew.
Yes, I actually coached them in football on
Okay.
the varsity staff with Phil Ambrose was the head coach, and very talented team,
Yeah,
and really did a nice job in football that year.
that's awesome. You talk about we're taking it back right now. I can tell you that.
Way back.
That's all. That's
We're
what we
taking
need.
it back when you guys were in diapers, or not even born yet.
Right.
Wow.
Tanner was actually.
I wore a diaper way longer than. No, I'm just kidding.
Didn't you wear it till like 1998?
I was about 10 running around,
Oh, I love it.
pooping myself in the yard, playing whatever.
We got episode 16. So I'm going to kick off. You know where I'm starting. I'm going to do, since we got Coach on here, we're going to go Honeywell story, a playing story, or a coaching story.
10
Now,
forward.
Coach, it can be when you were playing as an athlete, coaching, whatever, same thing, random. Whoever wants to go first, kick us off. Let's go. Give us something.
I'll say something.
All right, get it going.
So I'm going to just say it's going to be real short. But I remember one time playing baseball for Clinton High School my junior year.
Mm-hmm.
And I already told the one funny story when I slid feet first into second base when I got picked off by the catcher. That was the worst. That was the worst baseball moment in my entire life. But I hit,
Obviously.
I hit a home run at the Lumber King Stadium down the right field line, but it was foul, so it wasn't really a home run. But that was probably the coolest thing. Other than that's actually sad that was the coolest.
Who was it
thing.
against? Do you remember?
It was either Comanche or Northeast. It was one of those like that little thing that we did on the weekend or something.
Early in the season, we had that Memorial Day tournament or something.
Yeah. I remember that
Yeah,
tournament.
I crushed it, dude, but it was foul, so whatever.
Was it off one of the Howell boys or?
No. So I think that year when we played, I think that's the year that Kyle Howe passed away or whatever. Because when we played Northeast, they were all crying and stuff.
Yeah, I
remember that, Stenda?
Yeah,
It was actually a really awkward game because I think it happened like the day before,
Oh boy.
and they all still came and played. It was weird. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, so you were like,
It was like
you called it a half home run.
half home run. Yeah.
Kind
So
of.
I hit a half home run at the Lumber King Stadium.
You didn't break my window because I used to park back there.
Yeah, I remember. You did. You had remember the car tank was the red. He had that red car. Wasn't it the red Honda Accord?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I used to bring my. Hopefully, the school district doesn't find this bad, but
Oh well, they'll get over it. You're on the outside.
I used to bring. I used to bring a gymnastics mat in my trunk, and when I parked there, just for people like you who, if you would have hit it fair, obviously it wouldn't have mattered. But since
Right.
you pulled it where I was parking, I'd always put that mat over my windshield, so in case somebody actually did do that. It wouldn't bust my windshield. So that might have, I don't know, maybe it saved it that day.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I pulled it real hard, but
Wow.
whatever.
You could pull. Imagine if you would have kept it fair. It probably goes 450 feet.
Yeah, dude.
You know.
Imagine if I didn't get picked off at second base by the catcher.
Well,
That's got to be the first base coach's fault there. You blaming
Yeah.
Coach Jordan on that one?
yeah.
Yeah, we'll blame Coach Jordan.
Okay.
Put it on him.
Okay.
I got you.
Yep.
All right, Coach Snowden. So you got to give us at least your best coaching story. Something.
All right. Well, they're hands down. This is my favorite for 20 years. We had a player named Andy Rempfer.
Okay.
Okay. He played first base for us. I'm trying to think, where he would have been, in between you guys somewhere. I don't know, or before. But when we were driving on the bus to all these trips, I was sitting there, doing the lineup or whatever, and I'd hear in the background of the bus him saying, "You're going under." And I didn't know what that meant. So, days, weeks, months go by, and I'm wondering what in the world is going on. So I finally got clued in, like at a practice. Well, he would jump out from the back of his seat and put people in a headlock until they passed out. And you'd hear him, "You're going under." And I was wondering, what in the world? So anyway, no wonder we weren't very good that year. All the kids were, passed out going back onto the bus. But anyway, so Andy does this, and I finally catch on. So we're playing at Davenport Central, and there's a coach there, old school coach.
Yep.
And we're warming up in the right field at Brady Street Stadium, and I'm looking toward the third base dugout. Their coach is looking toward the first base dugout, and I won't use bad language here. But their coach says, "What in the HELL
Yeah.
is your kid doing?" And I'm like, I don't know. What could he be doing? We're warming up. We're doing laps. We're starting to play catch, soft top, So I turn over my shoulder, and he is making a snow or a dirt angel on the first base foul line, ruining the foul line. And he's like,
Post chalked line.
yeah, he's like, "I just spent 2 hours doing this field, and your player is over there." And I look, and I'm like, "Oh, my God. Rempfer, go get the rake," So he goes over to the shed, gets the rake, gets the chalker back out, and re-chalks the line. It's like, wow. Welcome to varsity baseball, 18-year-olds, Oh, well, but he's a good kid. I really liked him.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Oh, God. Well, it must have been, since you didn't really remember him, I'm guessing it maybe late 90s, I'm guessing, something like that.
I've never heard of him either. So
Never heard that name. That's a good one.
Interesting kid.
Did you have some choice words for him?
No, actually, I laughed. I said, "Hey, I'm glad you did it to this guy because
right.
I've got way more stories about this coach if you want to get into that later too." So anyway, what's your deal there, Stenda?
All right. So I've got two that both of you should remember. At least you both should remember one.
All right.
Okay. I'm going to do junior year. We're playing DeWitt at DeWitt. And it's a JV game. And you kind of had to mix the lineup, just to get the numbers in there. And everybody, Tanner, you got to remember this. Everyone's like, we're on deck, you swinging with Dean Marini, whatever, but there was a wood bat. And everyone's like, you won't use the wood bat and go up there and bat. I was like, bet me. Watch me.
I remember.
You're coaching third. You were coaching third, even though it should have been Coach Jordan.
Yeah.
And they're like, Greg, you, Dylan are like, you won't do it, Lake. And I'm like, okay, watch. And I'm swinging, and time to go up, and I grab the wood bat. And the first thing that you say, Coach Stone says, hey, come on. Hey, Jay, put some wood on it. And you didn't see that I had the wood bat. First pitch, base hit in the left field.
Nice
and
job.
I'm rounding
You cracked it.
yeah, rounding first, and they're all like, "Are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" I'm like, "He didn't say nothing." I'm like, "Didn't say you couldn't use wood bats." And I remember tossing. I'm like, "He's probably gonna be like," and I thought you were gonna come back and be like, "If you ever do that again,
right,
you're done."
Once again, why am I coaching third?
Yeah, I don't know why you were.
I'm gonna have to talk to Coach Jordan again. I got two problems there now. So.
Oh no. Yeah, but I remember that, and I think Lakin's brought up a few times where he's like, "You got to bring that up," and I'm like, Oh, I remember that because you were like, put some wood on. I'm like, I don't think you saw that I had a wood bat.
Yeah, we all were.
We didn't see a lot of
We were
stuff,
dying
obviously.
in the dugout. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're all like, and I think SB was always the instigator.
Was he?
Really?
Oh yeah, that guy. I tell you, he could, and he would get the most out of me because he'd be like, yeah, you won't do it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
You were one of those guys for
Yeah.
sure. Like,
So I'm
oh
gonna
yeah,
do
okay.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
So
you don't think I'll eat 60 chicken nuggets?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, don't you remember that one?
On the
When we
bus?
came back from Burlington? Yeah.
I don't know. We ate free, so I didn't care.
And then you topped it off with like a McChicken after you ate all of them.
Yes. McChicken or McDouble?
Something like that.
We came back from, remember Burlington? We played down there.
Well, you have
junior
enough
year.
time to eat 60, I suppose, by the time you get home. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we had to come home. We rolled with the girls because it was a doubleheader.
Yeah, I remember doing that at least once or twice. Yeah.
And we had to do that, and they were betting me on the bus. They're like, "You're not gonna."
Wow.
You won't
Where
do
do you
it."
put that? I don't know.
I did. I was able to do it. Yeah.
I'm sure you were sick.
I'm sure the next day at 8 o'clock when we had practice, you were probably in the porta pit or the porta john. the whole time.
That or I was constipated. I don't know, but man, it was bad.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember that. But the other one I have, and I got to do it since you're here.
Yeah.
We're senior year, Tanner and you were because we were spring league. We were playing at Davenport West. Me and Tanner rode down together because coaches couldn't coach the spring league.
Right.
But you'd always come down.
I played in spring league senior year.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that was before tryouts.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
Like when we did that. So we go down and we're playing at West, and I pitched 2 innings. Now I'm 18 years old at the time, and I chewed Red Man chew, so I had dip in, and I'm pitching the first inning. The umpire's kind of looking at me behind home plate, and he's like, I could tell him like kind of eyeing me, and I'm like, oh, he caught me. So the second inning, I come out and I go to the and I'm walking out for the second inning, and he meets me out there, and I'm like thinking, what's he doing? And he goes, hey, he looks at me, he goes, spit, and I'm gonna say it. He goes, spit that shit out, and I go, spit what out? He goes, spit that shit out. He said, you're lucky this isn't a
Real game.
a real game. He said, I will kick you out, and I said, and I looked at him, I was like, okay, and I spit it out, and you're at the end of the bench, and I'm thinking, don't go over and tell him. He comes over to like talk to you, and he's talking to you, and you're like this. You're like, and then you're looking at me, and I just see you look at me. I'm like, okay. So I get done with the inning, and I go down, and I come in the dugout, and you're at the end of it, and you're just standing there. Didn't tell me to come down, but I knew I was like, I gotta come face destiny here. And you're like, you know how many goddamn foul poles you're gonna have to run for that? And I was like, yeah, I already kind of figured that. And you're like, so you understand? I'm like, yeah, I'll take care of it. And you're like, all right. And I was done. And I was like, all right. But I don't know. I remember that, and everyone's like, you're going to get caught. I'm like, oh, I'm 18. I can do it. But
Well, unfortunately, the bad thing is I probably had a dip in too, and I probably couldn't say anything. I don't know if I did that back then or not, but maybe.
well, I mean, again, like at the same time, like I think I take that back to like, hey, I understand what I did. Hey,
Yeah,
you can correct
fess
it
up to it.
and be done and move on.
Yep.
But
that's
it
what you
was
gotta
fun.
do. Yep.
It was fun to be like. I just remember you looking at me from the mound, and I was like, "Oh shit, man, he's gonna." And I'm like, "All right, well, he ain't pulling me out because you could have been like, get off."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So that's what I got. That's what I remember. Those are the.
Those are good. Those
Yeah,
are good. Yeah.
But yeah, random. You got any other good ones?
Any good stories?
Anything? Yeah,
don't know,
especially
man.
coaching.
A lot of
playing.
the fun baseball stuff though we already talked about. So
We kind of have. Yeah, we have. I mean, like with Dylan and
yeah,
we had a lot of. We had man, that junior year was fun. Like Duddy Carpenter, you remember, coach. Duddy Carp.
it was fun. Yeah.
It really was, even though it wasn't the year we wanted to have.
Hey, did you know? Actually, fun facts. The bat that I used that year, I have it over at the cage right now. I still have
Do you?
it. Yeah. It's probably the hottest bat in the world too, because there's no way it's legal anymore.
What is it?
That DeMarini, that
Oh,
very
yeah,
first
yeah.
one.
Yep.
I think it was their first baseball bat. But
got
yeah,
you.
it feels like you're hitting a bouncy ball with it. So
Well, I don't know if you'd be strong enough to swing it anymore. I mean, it was probably the differential's gone down so low now that
Right.
it's like swinging a toothpick now
I know, seriously.
compared to back then. But
That's awesome.
wow,
Let's see here. Well, I got some other goodies here. Oh, we'll skip that. Let's I'm gonna dig right in. All right, so I'm gonna go for both of you. So let's talk about like the role of athletes in today's era. So whoever wants to kick off, I don't care. But when I say the role of the athletes, are the today in today's modern era athletics, are athletes willing to accept their roles, or are they like, if I'm not playing and starting, I'm done and I'm not going out?
Well, I can start, I guess. I mean, it's been 11 years, I guess, since I've coached baseball at the varsity level. But, Kevin Cunningham, the current coach at Clinton High, does an awesome job. And, one thing I know he values in his players is hard work, being there, being dedicated, being on time, doing all the things that you need to do to be a productive citizen later in your life. And that's the number one thing that I try to get out of my players when I was coaching. And I don't know, I'm sure there's coaches like that still, but they're few and far between. So my opinion is that you need more old school personalities that hold kids accountable, that make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, whether it's academically or athletically. Be there, be on time, do your job. But baseball's changed a lot too. Back in the days I was coaching, our best pitcher could have been our best center fielder.
Yeah.
Where
absolutely.
nowadays, the kids come in there and they're already predetermined that, hey, I'm going to be a pitcher only.
Right.
And it's just different. I don't think it's good, but they're kind of geared too little to what their destiny is going to be. And if their destiny doesn't work out, then they end up quitting, and they don't stick it out. Whereas, if you have a kid who can play multiple positions and still be a great pitcher or whatever, at least at the high school level. I understand at the college level where you have to do that. Yeah. But at the high school level, come on, let the kid be a talented outfielder, infielder, shortstop, pitch, do all those types of things, be a good hitter for you. And that's going to make your team more productive, because the amount of kids that are high quality anymore seems to be a little bit, less too.
Yeah.
You don't have 10 kids on your team that are high quality potential kids. You might have 3 or 4 now.
Right.
And if you don't do that, I don't know how you find success. But Coach Cunningham's definitely doing that. So I give him all the credit in the world for continuing to run an excellent program.
Well, but like kind of back to like when we were playing, like that was kind of what we had to, that was what was kind of, I feel like was instilled in Clinton athletics as a whole. Yeah. I say as a whole.
I think also back then, and we've touched on this before, but I think that like all of us between like our peers, like as athletes and students, like your competition was sports. Like, yeah, that's how you based like how cool you were. Yes. Your like ranking of whatever. Like it was always like who everybody wanted to be competitive in that nature.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like it's not like that anymore. And I feel like that probably plays a big role. The kids, like we said before, the kids want the most followers on social media, and it's different things that are valued with how they like consider who's cool. But back then it was like, oh, you got an A on the test? I guarantee these kids don't say that anymore. Or, like we all did that. We all compared, like, what'd you get on that? Oh, that's cool, man. Like, yeah, it's.
You were competitive.
Yeah, you just wanted to beat your friends at everything, and it didn't matter. But, I don't know.
But do you guys think in today's era, why is that? Why are we so far away from that now? What's the roadblock behind that?
I think it's just time that has turned it into that. The way the world is, everything's so sensitive now. Yep. You have to be like careful. I mean, like for instance, when I was in elementary school, our principal used to paddle us on our birthday and pinch our butt. Like, can you imagine that? No? Like, and we didn't think anything of it. It was cool then, but it's just like, I guess that's my point is everything has changed and you just can't do certain things. And, like we've talked about, like everybody wants to blame the coach or somebody else besides their kid. And
well, it's instant gratification. If you don't get instant gratification, something that is hard to most kids isn't worth trying for or striving for it because they weren't successful to begin with. Mm-hmm. And they've been raised, unfortunately, in an atmosphere perhaps that, if you're not good in baseball or football right away, then move on to fixing cars or whatever you're going to do, or go get a job. They don't understand that it takes time to build anything that's going to be successful, and you're not going to always have instant gratification.
Yes.
And I think there's still like athletes and stuff that are the way we were back then, but it's just not a big of a level. I mean, a lot of the kids their skill level is here, but they think they should be here on the playing time and starting position, whatever sport it may be, So
yeah,
like they don't. I mean, it's kind of like at a certain point, even at high school level, you're 16, 17, 18. You should be able to it's kind of like to come to Jesus. Know where you stand.
Yeah.
Know your like, it'd be like me saying, I would have loved to have been a Division I athlete and go to the NBA or whatever it is never going to happen. Nothing could have ever made that happen.
So figure out what you're doing it for, and then go as hard as you can.
Yeah.
For that reason.
exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I think about that. Like, I feel like that's a big part of now of why it's not successful, because they're just like, I'm out for the sport. I'll play. Well, sure, that's cool when you're in third grade. Everyone's going to play.
Right.
At Mayor Park down here, But when you're 15, 16 in high school, no. Even now, you're not, when you're in 7th and 8th grade, you're not just going to play because you're out. So I feel like, again, like, does it come back to, and I always hate saying this, but then I'm like, do I hate saying it? No. Because I think that the parents, they allow that. A lot of that comes from those kids that they're like, well, I come home, they're like, well, I only played 3 minutes of the basketball game, so I want to quit. And they're like, yeah, I sat there the whole game and you only played 3 minutes, so quit.
Well, if it's around here, the parents most likely probably weren't even there. So
that's probably true.
And I'm not even saying that to be mean, man. Like I said, I've been at some of them games, and it's crazy. And I'm not necessarily, I'm only speaking right now on basketball. So
yeah,
because I did go to a basketball game and it was crickets. So
well, those are the same types of people that you're talking about, Jeremy, that have 15 jobs in their lifetime. Where if you look at and I'm not saying anything about me, but I've had one job my entire life. And why is that? Because I've been dedicated to it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do anything else. And I found what my calling is. And it's easy to find a calling. And if you're not good at it, then just move on to something else. And I think this society is this job or this boss is treating me bad or whatever. Just like the coach might be treating my son or daughter bad. So move on, get another job.
Well, now it's like, let's just move away and go to a different school.
Or enroll somewhere else where you think the grass is greener and it isn't.
I mean, how is it? When did we ever see back in our era where a kid left Clinton to go to Comanche Northeast?
I think Nate Knox did, actually. Didn't he? But then he came back.
Mate?
He was like one of the only ones, but I remember everybody at one point was saying they were going to do that. But I just remember that. But yeah, it didn't happen a lot. Now these kids are in the transfer portal in high school all the time.
They're leaving to go. I couldn't I've said this before too. When we played Comanche in high school, what was that to us? Let's just dominate them in 5 innings and be done in baseball.
We were excited because it's like,
Let's demolish you. Now it's the complete opposite. They're kind of like, oh, we'll play Clinton. Like we might beat you, and like where I think like that was their World Series for us when we played them in baseball. Now they're like, okay, we're 2A, you're 4A. Well, we might beat you. We could.
Right.
I mean, they didn't have a chance back when we were playing. I don't think.
I think, a lot of looking back on those games, it was hard for a program, let's say, of Clinton to play people like that because, it wasn't just because they were just as good. They might not have had as good of players as a whole, but the way their conference schedule worked out compared to ours, we couldn't throw our one or two against them.
No.
Where they would play single games in their conference, we'd come off a doubleheader on Monday, play them on Tuesday, and then have a doubleheader varsity on Thursday. Well, if you're going to throw your one, Comanche or DeWitt, against our 5 or 6, it's going to be a game, you know?
Right.
But there's also plenty of other years where Comanche was equally as good as us. They had quality players, DeWitt. So on those types of situations, you just played and whoever won. But I don't think those programs are any different necessarily. They're well coached programs, and the kids worked hard, and the level isn't that much different. It just there just wasn't as many high quality players possibly at those schools on most years as there was around here, or in a Davenport school or something like that.
Yep. Like Bettendorf, who likes the Bulldogs?
Come on, that's my alma mater.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, we won't talk about that.
Who was the guy you told us about? Was it Pat Militich? Didn't you go to school with him?
Yes, he's a year older.
Okay.
He, obviously you know all of his UFC credentials. He was our starting nose guard.
Okay.
When I played, and probably obviously one of the toughest kids. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But just one of those types of kids you don't see very often. I haven't really seen too many of these types of kids in my coaching career, but I can name a couple from Clinton that come to mind later if you want. But he was just one of those kind of kids who, if the coach said run through the wall, he would ask how hard, or should I run through it with my head, or what, and that's just the way he was. And, and that made him a lot of money, obviously, as he got into his later life when he was, an ultimate fighter. But great guy, great family man. I still keep in touch with him a little bit, but he's a very good guy.
Does he still have the gym down there? Or
I think he has something. I don't know if he had sold that at one time and now he's working for somebody else or whatever. But yeah, he definitely trained a lot of good people.
You always heard it like when they'd announce them fighting out of Camp Militich or whatever they said.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
cool. Fighting out of Bettendorf, Iowa. When they're in Vegas or whatever they're doing. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
B-Town, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I'm taking it back.
He's a good guy.
Pat Militich. Bettendorf, I don't know what I think about it. Bettendorf always spanked some football. They spanked it. The only time they did. The only time they didn't beat us was, I remember, sophomore year baseball. We beat them at home at Westfield, remember, old Westfield, which, I drove by that today, and I parked in front of it, and I was like, I'll take a picture. But I was like, I just thought about, like, all the memories of being there. I was like, that was like, football on that field, baseball, the nets, the field, and it's kind of sad. I know it's just moving on, but at the same time, I was like, there were so many people that were on that field, and there was a lot of, like you said, like a lot of great players that stepped on that field.
Oh yeah. Well, if you go back, way back, I don't know this, but I'm assuming that people, like Duke Slater or something like that. I don't know. Did he practice there at Westfield? Is that where he would have? Where else would he have? I don't know, So, it could go, 70, 80, 90 years back, too, if you're thinking about it that way. But,
Wow.
Yeah. Boy, I remember some years coaching and football over there and, seeing David Johnson on that field. Yeah. That was a sight to see.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
It's like playing Madden on rookie level.
Oh, boy.
Like me playing Tanner.
Yeah.
I play him, it's not good. It's not good for him.
Well, yeah, probably not.
Well, you don't even play video games, man. Ridiculous.
Oh, I don't know. Watching David Johnson and having coached him a little bit and seeing Tavian Banks.
Yep.
Coaching him in Bettendorf when I was young. Those are obviously the two best athletes I've ever had, the experience of being around them. And both of them, obviously, are just phenomenal. But David was just in a different level, and I give kind of Coach Camp a little bit of credit for that as far as putting him out and actually throwing him the ball as opposed to like Tavian Banks. You just handed the ball off and he'd score every time.
Yep.
But, they used David Johnson in different ways, which I think really helped him as he got into the college level and, the NFL. So, but phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, he was. He was a stud. He was.
Did he play when you played, Stenda?
So, yeah, he was a freshman.
When we were seniors?
When we were seniors.
Okay.
But he played up sophomore, but they never even, because we had, Tony. Yeah. Tony
Tony was way bigger than David at that time.
And Tony, at the end of the day, I'll say Tony, raw. And, Tony now, he's like a bodybuilder.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a fitness,
he's insanely ripped.
Just insanely ripped. He just got his, pro card for, bodybuilding.
Yeah.
But back then he didn't. And if he ever watches this, which he probably won't, he didn't touch the weights. He just didn't touch the weight. He was not very minimal, but he was just raw. If I would pick a raw person between him and Kevin Hart, they were both super raw. Like holy, like just what they could do.
Born.
Gave them the
they
ball.
were just born to do that.
Give him the ball. But David Johnson was into the weights. They pushed him to that. Tony, very minimal, but Tony could go the whole off season and not squat. And I watched him one time. It was 485 pounds, 485 on the bar. Watched him squat it parallel below the ground. Vice watching him come up, boom, rack it
without doing anything before
Nope.
that. Oh my god!
And here I am, like I put 315 on. I'm like, do it 2 or 3 times, and you're like, I think I'm gonna die.
To blow your insides out.
Yeah.
Right out the backside.
Yeah, I was like,
underwear.
yeah. But
Wow.
I remember that. Yeah, Tony and Kevin Hart. But yeah, David Johnson. When I did watch him play, it was kind of like Madden on rookie level. He just run around everybody.
Well, I listened to your Kevin Hart show a couple weeks ago, I think it was, and Kevin Hart Sr. is a year younger than me.
Okay.
So, I mean, I haven't obviously talked to him. I don't know if I ever talked to him, but I do remember, graduating from Bettendorf High School in 85, and I think he came through in 86. And I think that team, if I remember right, was the first Clinton team I think that had ever beaten Bettendorf.
Really?
To make the playoffs,
Really?
I think. And I think Bettendorf made the playoffs, but that was huge for Clinton. I do remember because I was a freshman in college and was going to be playing football the next morning, for St. Ambrose. But going back to watch that game, and boy, he was a player too. His dad was a player.
Was he a running back too?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Really tough.
Wasn't the story I heard about him is that, and I don't know if this is true, and I never even asked Kevin Jr., but that he one time at Clinton had ran through like 2 people and broke one of the guy's legs.
Seriously?
Yeah. Pretty sure. Like he had ran through like on a kickoff return or something, whatever it was, and he ran through both of them and broke like one of the guys'
I'm
legs.
assuming was he a little bigger than Kevin? Because Kevin's,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I
Because
don't
I've only known
remember.
Kevin Senior as like a bit older, bigger guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right. I think they were very comparable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think so at the time, if you took them. But, it's just throwing out some other names here for you guys. We're talking old school guys that, I don't know, you might want to do some research. But when I was going through Bettendorf and playing Clinton athletes, Bill Rose
Okay.
was one of the best athletes around.
Okay.
Might have been one of the top 10 athletes in Clinton high history. He had a brother named Rod, I think, or maybe a cousin or something, played basketball. What an athlete. I mean, not quite David Johnson-ish, maybe not quite Kevin Hart-ish, but phenomenal athlete. So I don't know if he's around or whatever. You might want to look him up or look at his stats up or whatever, but phenomenal athlete in my genre. I remember playing, multiple sports against him, and he was very, very, very good.
Yeah, that was before me and Random were born, Coach. So, I mean,
but
you have to do a little bit.
That's
of
why
research.
that's what there's an internet for. Yeah.
Internet. When did it come out? Like AOL was like what, 1998 or
Probably. I remember being at Boothby's house all the time on his sister's AOL Messenger, talking to her friends. We thought we were so cool.
yeah, old Boothby. Yeah, he's another one too. I mean, he was kind of a. I mean, I don't know about like. I mean, when
I remember young though. He just wasn't good at anything. He was like okay, and then all of a sudden, like he just got this work ethic that was insane and just got jacked.
Yeah. Yep. I do remember. Yeah.
Because he even used to. I remember when we were young, which I know grades didn't matter, but he was never really like good at school.
Yeah.
He's kind of like average at sports, and then all of a sudden, like, straight A's and just a monster. So.
Yeah, and look where he is now. I mean, that shows you what classroom and athletics can do. You've got to be both.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Both sides.
It was probably he probably made the right choice. I bet.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're never gonna know, but
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. He's funny. I remember the article he had when he was done with at UNI. It was Boothby Sacks NFL career for med school.
Yeah.
He could have gone, and he could have, put himself in. There's like this big article about, he's like, hey, I played football my whole life, and I want to be a doctor, and he does that. And I mean, I think that's cool about him.
Yeah.
What
He just wanted to do it and did it.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's kind of like that, Field of Dreams where the doctor, gets that chance,
Yes.
in the movie. That he kind of reminds me of a person like that. What I don't know, Dr. Graham or whatever that guy's name was.
Moonlight Graham.
Moonlight Graham.
Moonlight
whatever.
Graham from,
I just think of Boothby like
Yeah.
that. I mean, think of all the people he's helping now.
Yep.
And, could he have gotten a chance? Sure.
Yep.
Probably. Would he have? Absolutely. But look at what his life is now from. He had his
crazy.
great years athletically, but, his grades were fantastic, and he's.
And he's still jacked, so.
I
He's
don't
got
know. I
like
just haven't seen him. But
he has this huge thing in his backyard, like he like climbs up
Yeah,
and stuff.
I know he does.
Like a crazy CrossFit thing.
He
good
does.
for him.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, we met for last September when we did like that thing at the casino, which you guys both didn't show up. But hey, whatever. I'm not going to call you out on it.
Well, you just did.
Well, I might have. He shows up there, and he's the first person out in front of the casino. And, I just see him. I'm like, hey, you can tell, like, super lean. And, first thing he does is, hey, come give a hug. And I'm like,
Okay,
geez,
get your arms around him.
yeah, I'm like, you guys are jacked, man. And he's like, hell yeah. And he's drinking gin and tonic the whole night. Gin and tonic. I get a gin and tonic. He bought like several of the rounds. He get gin and tonic. I'm like, when the hell did you start drinking gin and tonic?
Yeah. Where did that even happen from?
Well, you don't get a body drinking beer like that.
Well, no, you can't. No, you can't. Yeah, beer or, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe that's probably the right way to go. And he never ate anything, so, like me, I was like, hey, give me some fries or onion rings or whatever.
The cheese curds.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I hear you guys talking about Mr. Quick sometimes on your show. I obviously, I haven't lived here, for very long, even though I've taught here a million
Yeah.
years, but I had no idea where that even was
Really?
until you guys started talking about it. And
So, like, back in the day when you were coach, you don't remember that? Like,
I had
Oh,
no
my
idea. No. I used to go from my house to baseball or whatever it was, or whatever I was coaching. Now, was that somewhere by the stadium? Or
no,
something?
that was down on, remember, or by, where was it, Tanner? On North 2nd Street.
Closer to the bridge than anything.
By 19th Avenue North. So, you know where Walgreens is at?
By the North Bridge?
Yep.
Okay.
19th Avenue North.
But it was a little bit more
To the
south, right?
To the south of there.
Yeah.
So it would have been like by Pizza Hut.
Oh, okay.
Right there by Pizza Hut. It was on the same side as Pizza Hut.
I went to the state, how many millions of hours I was there, but it was either the stadium and then, off to do whatever
Yeah.
else you have to do after
yeah.
that. But, yeah,
I
a lot
forgot
of
about
years
that.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, old school days.
That's quick.
That's right. Baby.
It sounds good when you guys talk about it.
I don't actually. I thought it was good when I was younger, but who knows if it actually was.
It was cheap. That's all.
Yeah.
It is.
Gee,
It
who
was.
cares? Like, get your fix.
Did
like,
you get all kinds of stuff?
Yeah, man, I love that place. Oh, I'd love to go.
Well, I'd like to hear your 60 chicken nugget story.
Oh, man, and I know Tanner. I know you remember it
Yeah, I do.
because
I'll never forget that.
You were kind of a part of it. You, Dylan.
Oh yeah, we were all instigating you bad. Like, do it. Come on, man. You only did 40. Keep going.
Yeah, like here's the thing. Like,
How much money did you bring?
you know what? They bought.
Yeah,
Everybody
I think
else
everybody
chipped in and
pitched
bought
in
it.
just for our entertainment. We used to do it this then. Remember, like in middle school, we'd tell you that we'd mix stuff together and you'd eat
Yeah.
it.
Like, hey, do this and we'll pay you like $3. I'm
Yeah, like eat these
yeah,
grapes
I'll
with
eat it.
eat these grapes in your chili, dude, or whatever.
I was just thinking because most, I always tell you guys, make sure you bring $5. I mean, $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And you
crazy.
guys could pig out for $5 on the way home. Now you bring $5, you're getting a shake, and that's it.
I know, it's nuts.
Or like an enhanced water or something like that. It's like, what the hell is this shit?
I was wondering, how you would have afforded that, but I guess you had a job and all that stuff. So
Oh, high
The
V.
car,
Car
you're
wash
at
at
IV or
that time.
car
That was
wash?
car wash.
Yeah.
So I think we were coming back from Burlington because we played down there, and we were double header with the girls, and everybody's just.
Did
like,
you
hey,
plan on doing this, or did we just
No.
convince you on the bus?
Everybody convinced me. They're like,
you had 3 hours.
yeah, you can't. Yeah, you got 3 hours to
Do
do
something.
it, and
Was it a charter bus?
charter bus. Yes, we had charter.
Wow.
We weren't on the old yellow bus.
Okay.
And you probably just don't remember it because it was so long ago. But when we were in the line doing it, you're like, holy shit, Stindy, you're not going to eat all those. I'm like, yeah, no, I will. Yeah.
I remember.
And like, okay,
I remember.
hey.
I remember even that part.
Yeah. And
I probably saw the 20-piece and thinking you weren't going to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't see the 60-piece.
the other 40.
Wow.
And we get them back, and we get them ordered, and the lady's like, okay, yeah. And I'm chomping away on the bus, and it gets to a point where I'm like, man, my jaw's hurting so bad. So I give me a cheeseburger. So I eat it like a double cheese or something, and yeah, I finished them off, and
Oh, boy.
3 or 4 days, I'll tell you this, because we had to do, if I remember right, it rained like the next day. And for practice, we got cut short, and we all had to go in the weight room. And you're like, hey, this is the workout you're going to do. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to. Like, no way.
Just full of nuggets.
Yeah.
We were hoping we were just going to have an easy day today.
Yeah. I was like, oh, dude, like,
It
now I
had
gotta
to
go-
rain.
I was like, dude, like, now I got to go lift weights. I'm
Go
like,
pump that iron.
yeah.
Wow.
60 chicken nuggets. I don't know if I could do it now, but
Well, remember when we were there not too long ago, you ordered 15 double cheese. Remember that?
yep.
But
I don't know.
you didn't eat 15.
I ate like 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that now. Like if I say this, if I drink, I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I can take it on. And then I'm like, okay. At the end, I'm like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
Body can't recover.
Nope.
Not at all. Not at all.
Those are all the. I mean, I'm trying to think. I got other stuff, but some of it's not. Yeah.
Not appropriate for the Honeywell
Nah,
Heroes
no, it's
podcast
stuff
or
we,
what?
we
dude?
all talk about after, But yeah, there's a lot of good times. I mean, I would say like for me, just me personally, baseball was one of the funnest times I ever had when I was in school.
Yeah, that's good.
And there was other stuff that was fun, but it was more of just being able to go to practice and be able to do what you need to do. And
Well, it's a shame that you guys didn't get to experience the Eagle Heights.
Yeah. But I
part
like
of
playing
it,
at playing at the Lumber King Stadium though.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. I mean, as a coach, it got really old because, if somebody spit on the field, they threw the tarp on and you got canceled. But
That's true.
Yep.
you couldn't practice
I
there.
guess more because it wasn't our own type of thing.
Right, I mean, and believe me, they've had great managers down there,
Right.
Ted is wonderful now, and he was wonderful back then, during the time I worked with him. But once we got that Eagle Heights field, that changed our program to another level, I think.
Yeah.
Because we could practice there, we could do everything there, we had our games there, we knew the field.
Yep.
Then you could gear your team around it.
yeah.
So why did they choose there? What was the
Well,
big?
I think it was, they knew they were putting the school there, and they had so much land behind there, which I think used to be like a pasture or something. But, I mean, it worked out, and,
for sure.
A wonderful facility for the community, and I think it's going to be, wonderful for the next 20 years, probably.
yeah.
It is super nice. I've been up there watching some games and stuff, and it's
It is very nice.
Well, we always remember we had to, we take batting practice for those away game. It didn't matter if it was away game or home game. You had to take if you're a home game, you took the batting practice, and then we got in our personal cars
Right.
and had to drive down to the
yeah.
stadium.
Where
Remember that?
did we do BP at Westfield?
Yeah, we did BP Westfield.
Yeah, because I always rode with Lakin down for some reason. I remember that.
Did he have the white Ford Ranger?
No, it was the red. He had the red truck. It might have been his dad's
That
truck.
was his
that he
dad's
driving.
truck.
Oh,
But
yeah.
whenever I rode with him, though, he was driving that. So
Okay.
Well, his
remember-
dad was probably in a driver's ed car.
right, right.
That's probably it.
But yeah, so I remember that, and
Yeah, but I still that was the norm. You were just used to that. You're like, okay, you come down there, you take batting practice, you want to get a drink, and then hey, you could
Stop
basically
at
take,
Amico and go down
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
I throw my red man in when I was 18. When I was
wow,
18.
look at you, look at you.
great.
Oh man, I'll never take it back because I think if I remember right, senior year, it was Drew Madsen had said to me, he's like, hey, Stinda, you need to stop doing that. It's bad for your health. I was like, hey, I'm 18 years old. Okay, shut up. All right, man. Not that nobody knew about it, but
Except the umpire
yeah,
and your head
Yeah,
coach. But other
You
than
weren't that sneaky. Bro.
call me out, man. Hey,
The first time you ever did it, wasn't it when you were with Chris when we were at a softball tournament, or no? I swear it was. We went with him or something. Wasn't it him and Dave Bunn or something? And they convinced you to do it.
It might have been. God,
Well, we were young though.
we were probably like what, 14 or 15?
Probably 15.
Yeah.
And you were throwing up and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not good. Yeah, we had some good. Yeah.
That was funny.
Again, not trying to put anybody on the spot. I mean, it was different era. Like now, like I feel like if even we talked about, like I'm not like here's the thing that's weird. Like I think now to like baseball players, like even high school kids, you can't tell me that like high school baseball players do not dip. They,
I don't know.
There's, you know what I mean?
I don't
like
know
if
either.
You know, especially like the snus or the snooze, all that. There's so many things you can do now. Like back then, all you could do was just chew. It was just like Copenhagen, you know, or Skull. That was it. Like now they can do all these things and hide it. And I think it's funny now, like when parents are like, my kid's chewing, I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like you don't think that there's so many more alternatives for them to do it and hide it?
Well, yeah, you're talking about like. I don't think that kind of stuff's the problem. It's the vaping and things where, I mean, talk about hiding.
Right, right.
You know, that's really bad. And that's even trickling down to the elementaries, you know.
Yeah.
It's nuts. I always tell my kids, like, you're literally like smoking a cigarette. Like, it's not cool like everybody thinks it is.
Yeah.
Like, why? I always ask, why do these kids think that's cool? Where did this come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't a good invention, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And we just keep adding vape stores. I'm pretty sure there's another one coming in between like Maurice's and like Pizza Hut out there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's cool. We got like two in like a 30-foot radius out there now.
Hey guys, don't do this, but hey, do it. Okay, well, what do you think they're gonna do?
Jesus.
Well, what do you think's going to happen once they legalize? You know what?
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it comes out. I mean, we could talk about that because that's what's gonna. I think in 10 years, if not less, we're gonna come to that, and then, well, how are they even gonna regulate? I don't even know how they even do it. I don't know.
I don't know. All you got to do is go across the river, I guess.
Right.
But
Walk
I don't know
into the
how they
store.
deal with that, you know. But
That's crazy.
yeah, hiding it, doing that, and being affected by it,
Yeah.
you know, as a student or an athlete. But
Yep.
that ain't good.
Oh boy. Oh boy. What do you do?
All right, guys, let's do a little on this day.
Hey, get it.
On this day in sports history, March 15th, we're going to do 1869, way before our time.
years.
This is a cool one. With 10 salaried players, the Cincinnati Red Stockings become baseball's first professional team. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
1869. Okay. March 15th, 1912, legendary pitcher Cy Young retires from baseball with a 511 and 315 win-loss record. That's actually insane, the amount of games.
Man, how do you even do it?
I don't know. It
His
had to
arm
have been-
didn't fall off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't believe he even had him still.
Well, before you go any further, like I saw a thing stat the other day on Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
He had there was where he threw 245 pitches in a complete game and threw 3 days later. It was before they had pitch count.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
500 wins. You know how many, there's no way he didn't throw 200 pitches a game. He had to have.
511 and 315.
There's no way he didn't play
There's
throw
over 800 recorded pitched games. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I wonder how they counted wins and losses back then, too. Like, maybe if you pitched, it counted or something. I don't know. Even if you threw a pitch, who knows?
That's crazy, though. Man.
All right.
What else you got?
March 15th, 1958, Oscar Robertson of the Cincinnati Royals scores an NBA Midwest region record, 56 points in a game. That's pretty cool.
It's not that many.
Not compared to now. No, it's not.
not.
You got a Damian Lillard. What's his name? Lillard? He had like 71.
71
or
not too
something
long
the other
ago.
night.
Yeah.
He's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's nuts. Let's see.
even
Let's
recognize
find
that
some other good stuff here.
Oh, there's a guy in my time, Larry Holmes.
1985, March 15th, Larry Holmes TKOs David Bay in 10 for heavyweight boxing title.
Now, I don't know if, like if Mike Tyson ever fought him or not. I mean, because Mike Tyson might have been, like, late 80s, so I don't know if he would have been washed up by then or not. But
Yeah, Tyson would have been. He probably probably started in the late '80s because the mid '90s was like his prime.
Yeah. He's something else. You ever watch his podcast?
Dude's
He just had the Undertaker on there. That was a cool episode.
was he baked?
Oh, yeah.
I love watching his stuff.
He's something else.
He's
man.
always baked, man. He just lived the dream.
Right.
Like,
And who's going to tell him not to?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
March 15th, 1988, NFL's St. Louis Cardinals, which I did not know they were the St. Louis Cardinals. Did you know that?
Not then. In
NFL's St. Louis Cardinals officially moved to Phoenix, it says.
oh, well, yeah, I obviously knew that.
Did you? That's weird. I don't know why I never knew that. I always thought it was just baseball.
Who are you a fan of in football?
Me?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but the Bears.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's tough.
You and
It's tough.
Random, all right, you guys can stop right now.
It's
They're going to be good next year,
Well, yeah, you say that every year since 1985.
like the Cubs.
the Cubs. Hey, the Cubs are like on an 8-game win streak in the preseason stuff.
Woo, baby.
We're on a roll, baby.
Yeah.
That's all I got on this day.
I got two things, but the first thing, I just want to end on a question for both of you guys.
Yeah.
So, guys talk about like a contributing factor as to why the number of athletes going out now are down. Like, what contributes to why they're not going out?
I don't know. That's a hard question.
I put you guys on the spot, but hey.
No, that's okay.
I have an answer, I think. You know, we kind of talked about it before the show, but I think a lot of kids start travel various sports too young.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't, you know I'm old school, and I'm old, but I look back, you know, at things like Tom Jordan did with his son and all the wonderful things he did for our baseball program and things like that. And I almost questioned it back then. Like, are you putting somebody like Ryan Jordan, for example, or the other kids, are they playing too much, you know? But now it's, and I was questioning that back then, you know, 30 years ago. But now the stuff that he used to do with his son, or, you know, the Howe boys or whatever from Northeast or whatever, that's minimal compared to what the kids do now. And I think the problem is you start them so young, they experience some success, but then by the time they're in 8th grade, they're like, okay, it's just like a football player who starts tackle football as a 6th grader, and then by the time they get to high school, they're like, I'm sick of getting beat up.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sick of traveling. I'm sick of doing this and that. Yeah. And they're like, all right, well, I've got other things to do now in high school, so why should I? Why should I keep doing it? So I think that there's a fine line there of
that's a good.
What you should do.
I didn't actually have that in my mind, but that is.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and you got to think about all these parents.
Where do they find the money to do it? I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, so I'm opening a batting cage across the street, and I've had a crazy amount of parents, more than just people wanting to book it for their kid to go in there. But I've had more parents like, we want to sign our kids up for lessons. Everybody just wants their kids to have lessons. Now, it's good for me, but it's kind of goes along with that. It's like, do all these kids really need all these private lessons? I don't really know. I don't necessarily know if they do.
And well, if they need them, who's teaching them?
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing right there, is who is the one doing it, you know? And I'm sure there's quality people, you know, doing it.
But these parents do not care. They just want to tell other parents that their kids are getting lessons. But I mean, that's kind of going off the path of what we're talking about. But
it's not. And not to cut you up, it's not though, because it's what we kind of like try to touch on here is like it is though, because they're just like, oh, if you go do this, you're going to be good. You're automatically going to play.
And then they expect them to be good, and then they're not good. And then now what do? You quit.
Well,
there you go.
This is just a lack of kids being. I'm not saying that kids don't want to be outside as much as they used to. Which I mean, we've talked about that a lot. It's different, but also it's less safe for kids to be outside nowadays. Yeah. So that contributes. So these kids aren't out here playing catch every day, and they're not out here shooting hoops every day because their parents are scared somebody's going to hurt them or whatever. You know, take them. I don't know, but you know, that was our lessons when we were younger, was just literally playing wiffle ball and running around shooting hoops and whatever. That's how we taught ourselves. So.
Yeah, and what better life lessons can you learn playing tackle football in your yard? I mean, if you can't learn some life lessons there.
Don't talk smack to that dude up there, and then he comes out and you just freaking, it puts you on your, you know what, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good life lessons. Not enough of that.
Right, and I agree. I mean, do you think that, here's one thing I just think that does kind of factor in that we've never really touched on is the economic backgrounds of these kids. Now in this era, how many of these kids are in a split household? They're with an aunt, an uncle, a grandma, etc., and they have to have a job, and they have to go work, and they have to take care of their siblings or their cousins, whatever, and they just can't go out because.
But why wasn't it like that back then too, or no?
I don't remember. I feel like in
Is it worse? It's
60s?
not worse, but is it a higher level of this happening now?
Well, I can tell you as an educator,
yeah, you
yes,
do.
it's way worse.
Really?
I don't know, like at our particular building, I'm not sure, but as a district, I think it might be over, I'm just guessing, but maybe over 35% of a non-traditional setup for kids. And why
kinda-
that
that's
is, I
sad.
don't know, but, I think that's probably, nationally, perhaps. Could be.
Yep.
Well, I guess thinking about it now, when we were younger, everybody was at home with their mom and dad, for the most part. I mean, there's a few kids that we knew, Stenda, that were
Yeah.
stepdad and stuff, but
Yeah.
it was mainly like mom and dad were at home with
Yeah.
our friend lived with their mom and dad, I guess. So it is definitely different.
I mean, I'll test it for both of you guys. I mean, same thing we're kind of talking about, like being in law enforcement. I see now where it's like, how many of these kids are at a disadvantage because they live with an aunt, they live with a grandma, and I'm like, wow, how can your 80-year-old grandma provide you the things that a mom and dad would give you?
Well, and shout out
Keep
to the
tabs on you.
Yeah. Shout out to the grandma and
Absolutely.
the aunt and stuff for stepping up and doing that. you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I on the other end of it, yeah, I get what you're saying. So.
Like they have to like I said, they're like, I got to work 25 hours a week, and
Yeah.
they went to school for basically a full-time job for the whole week.
Well, and grandma doesn't know that what's going on a smartphone or what their kid's up to. It's,
Yeah, it's different. It's a different world, that's for sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's sad. It sucks, but I mean, again, I guess it changes in time. We got the food challenge here.
Well, I don't know if it's a challenge.
We're just gonna test it out.
It's the heaviest pizza I've ever lifted up.
But I gotta once we get it divvied down here, I do have a start bench cut for you guys, and you guys.
While we're chewing on this.
Well,
pizza.
I mean, we got to do it. We got Coach here. We're gonna take it old school. You guys are gonna love these guys, and if you don't pick who I think you should pick,
Then you're fired.
Denzo, pass her down. Ooh, looking good.
So this right here is from Vitale Joe's. We reached out a few times and we ended up getting a hold of Chris at Vitale's, and he said he wanted to partner up, and so we're gonna try some of their pizza. He said I'm gonna get you some Chicago style. So we got some deep dish. I think it's sausage and pepperoni, just kind of nothing crazy. Nothing like last week when I had the actual crabs in my mouth.
Oh yeah, Vitale is 1134 Comanche Avenue, 563-242-6140. Go hit them up.
Yeah.
By far the best pizza in town. And there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
I don't know. That's
Send it-
my opinion.
Oh, Lord.
But
Senna, did you see St. Giuseppe's? They were like beefing with Vitale's
Yeah,
like
I did
a month
see.
ago.
Yeah, have you ever seen the St. G's in Comanche?
It's
yes,
pretty new.
I mean, I've seen it, but I've never been there. There was one in Moline, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there
think
is,
they
yeah.
have like three.
And my
two others.
sister used to get that when, I would visit her in Moline. It's great.
Yep.
I've never had it in Comanche.
They made a post on Facebook like better than Vitale's.
I was like, no, dude.
I mean,
don't
actually
do it.
marketing worked though because there were so many comments on it. Everybody was so mad at them.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'll have to try that. Or maybe we'll have them sponsor the next thing to come in. But
We had one. What episode do we have it on?
We had him on one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, oh, I'll do it anytime you guys want. I'm like, he like gave us like 4 boxes of stuff.
wow.
Yeah, hooked us up.
Well, this pizza weighs as much as all 4 of those other boxes.
Yeah,
So.
it does.
Fantastic.
While you're taking it, I got to start bench cut for you guys.
Yep.
This is going to do MLB, okay?
Well,
All right. Barry Bonds, Cal Ripken Jr., Mike Piazza. You got to start one, bench, cut.
oh my God.
Start, bench, cut. Barry Bonds, Cal Ripken Jr., Mike Piazza. And I used outfielder, infielder, catcher.
I'm going to go start Barry Bonds because I loved watching him. Who was the other two?
Cal Ripken Jr. and Mike Piazza.
Mike Piazza's benching, cutting Cal, just because that was just my
Wow, dude. What?
that was my preference then, dude.
Oh,
I never watched Cal Ripken that much. I didn't really. He just didn't.
Well, if you know anything about Cal Ripken Jr., you have to start him because he would be there for 40 years and never miss a game.
Yeah, he's never sitting out.
So there's number one right there.
Yeah.
I would say bench Piazza and, what's the other one?
Bonds.
Bonds, whatever to do with Bonds, bench him, I guess, or whatever. But Piazza, no. But Cal Ripken, you know, he's going to be there. He's trustworthy. He's going to start every game, and he's going to die for the organization. And boy, he did.
What about you, Stenda?
He was a banger. Well, okay, you guys got so you don't remember do you not remember much, or you just
I don't remember watching him play. I didn't watch him that much. I just always remember watching Bonds because he was always on TV.
Okay, so take Bonds. Okay,
I'm just talking personal, like
Right. Cal Ripken's more my age type of guy.
Cal, yeah, he was the man. But take Bonds back to when before he took steroids. He was like, wasn't he the first guy, the 30-30 club? 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, and then he had like 100 RBIs, didn't he?
I think you're right.
Before he took steroids. Mm-hmm. So here's what I'm going. I'm starting Barry Bonds. I'm benching Ripken, and I'm cutting Piazza. If I could say in the prime of Barry Bonds, but when he was at the end, you know, when he hit 73 home runs, well, yeah, he's probably, I think, arguably. Do you think he's arguably the best hitter in baseball ever, though? Based on
Tony Gwynn.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. How do you throw him out of? Yeah.
Pete Rose.
Yeah.
How is he not in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, exactly. How do you not finally say, hey,
Right.
man? Yeah, that's true. I met Pete Rose in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah. I went in, so I was walking with the group, and this guy, he's outside the shop, and he goes, hey, you want to meet Pete Rose? And I go, I literally said, shut the hell up. And he goes, no, you really want to meet him? I said, okay, where's he at? And he goes, he points, and there's Pete Rose sitting there. And I go, okay, yeah. And he goes, you got money? I go, yeah, I got money. It was $200. So I go in, and there's nobody in there. And I'm like,
Well, yeah, because it was $200.
$200, give him $200. I walk up, and I'm walking up, and he's just sitting there looking at me, and I'm kind of like,
Starstruck.
dude, like this Pete. And I walk up there, and he goes, hey, how you doing? I go, I'm good. I'm Jeremy. And he goes, yeah, hey man, go ahead, take a seat. And I sit down, and we're talking. He goes, he's got the ball, and they'll give you like a certificate that shows it's authentic.
Authentic, yeah.
And then he goes, where are you from? I go, I'm from Iowa. He goes, oh shit, man. He goes, I was just in Norwalk not that long ago. And I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. I said, yeah, Iowa's kind of different. He's like, oh yeah, I've been there. He goes, I've been there before. Back in the 80s, I was there too doing something.
Well, Pete Rose Jr. played. I got to see him play because my ex-wife's brother played on like the Davenport Dodgers or something.
Okay.
And he was, you know, they did a lot of traveling or whatever, and they played at John O'Donnell Stadium, and they had a tournament against Pete Rose Jr. or whatever. I remember going to that to watch, you know, the family member, but Pete Rose was there, somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't meet him or nothing, but, you know, it was like, talk about starstruck just to see the son play, and, you know, he's in the stands somewhere in John O'Donnell in Denver. You know.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
So, you know, I'm sure he's been in Iowa plenty of times.
Yep, he was cool, and I'm sitting down there, and we're like kind of talking. I was like, yeah. He's like, what are you here for? And I was like, oh, I'm on a trip for my girlfriend at the time. You know, she was turned 21. And he's like, oh yeah, you guys gonna have fun? I was like, yeah, we'll have a lot of fun. And he's like, yeah, we can get a few pictures. And so I'm like, at the same time, I'm just like, all right, man. So like, I'm returning. He's like, and I'm like going like this. This is my hand. I'm
He had like a little soft
because I'm like,
wrist.
hey man, it's Pete Rose. Like he's like, you can look up at the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, like hey man. And I just thought it was, you know, like to think of that guy and what happened to him.
That's
which
cool.
Sucks, but he should be in the Hall. Kind of like Barry Bonds. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I don't know. That's my opinion, but it is what it is.
Boom, boom. Well, episode 16, huh?
We closed it off with Coach Snowden. Coach Snowden, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for
Hey, this was fun, and it was even better to have a nice little slice of pizza here.
nice thick old slice. Shout out to Vitale's. Random Tanner,
JP Stennett and Coach Snowden.
Coach Snowden. Episode 16. Thanks, guys.
See ya.